Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Dr. Velasquez, the health officer for Spokane County. And today we have one of our community partners that we want to learn a little bit more about, and the community partner is Spokane Hope. So the two members of the team from Spokane Hope that are here to my right is Executive Director Angela Fiddler.
Yes.
And Early Intervention Coordinator Laurel Graham.
Yes.
Quite a title. So thank you for joining us today. Happy to be here. So let me, since I have you right next to me, tell me a little bit about you, your relationship to the organization, your role in the organization, and what is it that we should all know about Spokane Hope?
Yeah, so I am Angela Fiddler. I am the Executive Director of Spokane Hope, and I'm also a speech language pathologist and a mom of two children who are deaf and have bilateral cochlear implants.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have a lot of personal experience working with children that are deaf and hard of hearing. And Spokane Hope, it stands for Hearing Oral Program of Excellence. And yes, and we work with kids from birth to age 5 that have hearing loss, and we teach them how to listen and speak.
Wonderful. So then tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. I'm a teacher of the deaf. I've been in the field for about 8 years. And so I help head up the 0 to 3 program for Spokane Hope. Help kids get enrolled in early intervention and get those services up until they transition out at 3 years old.
Okay, so 0 to 3 will be birth to 3. And
Yes.
I'm going to get back to that in a second. But
Yes.
going back to you have experience in your own family. So how the children get there? Are they referred? Do parents bring them over? How can someone get access to the services?
Yes, we get referrals after kids have gone through some kind of hearing testing. It's usually at 2 different times. It's typically when kids get their newborn hearing screenings right after they're born in the hospital.
Okay.
We can get referrals after then, or if children are a little bit older, it's typically because they have grown up a little bit and their parents or professionals have started to notice a little bit of a language delay or that they aren't responding to sounds around them as expected. So then they pursue more hearing testing.
Okay, so ergo the 0 to 3 because
Yes.
there's no more testing. That's important for people to know because I don't know that everybody knows that actually.
Yeah.
So talking about things that people should know, I think when we talk about hearing,
Yes.
a lot of us don't know the full gamut of issues, clinical issues that are related to hearing, and there could be some misconceptions. So what do you hear that may not be accurate about some of the issues that these children face, some misconceptions that you deal with?
Yeah, I think the number one misconception, a lot of the children that we see, they have hearing technology such as cochlear implants or hearing aids, and once they receive those devices, I think a lot of people think, well, they're fixed.
Oh.
They can hear. And that is definitely a misconception because that's just the first step in the process. They now have access to sound, but now they need to learn how to make meaning out of those sounds. And so, for instance, a child who receives a cochlear implant, they're not hearing sound the way that you and I hear sound. They're hearing sound electronically. So their brain has to learn how to process that information. And that's where our services come into play because we teach them how to make meaning of those sounds with their technology.
So I think that's very important for people to be aware of, the fact that the child may have some additional resources doesn't mean that they're hearing the same way we hear or they're understanding the same way we do. So I think that's where some of your programs come in. But I want to go back to the 0 to 3 because that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, well, why is hearing important? They don't even know how to speak yet. When they're that little. So tell us a little bit about the early intervention and why is that important?
Yeah. If children can't clearly hear language or they can't hear language at all, their brain really misses out on some incredibly important language structures. Between the ages of 0 to 3, their brains can take in the most amount of information. And then research actually shows that the language learning parts of the brain start to slow down at 3, and then they slow down even more at 5. So this birth to 3 age is just incredibly important that if parents can give them access to clear hearing through adequately fit hearing aids or cochlear implants, and they can get them specialized services such as early intervention, we can give them skills now, that academic skills, social emotional skills, that will set them up for success in the future. So we can't really wait for them to start talking before we start working on their language development, because it really starts, we have this very ambitious goal to that children are diagnosed with their hearing loss by 1 month of age.
Wow.
By 3 months of age, they have adequate hearing technology, they're wearing it all waking hours, and then they are enrolled in services shortly after that, because we can't wait. The skills happen now to build them up for success in the future.
So tell me a little bit about when you have a child that young, obviously the people around that child are very important for that child to be successful. So how does that work, and what role do the parents, caregivers play into the whole thing, and what do they need to be aware when they have a child that has those kinds of needs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, parents are one of the most vital players on this
And
child's
grandparents, by the way.
and
Yes.
grandparents.
That's true.
Yes, I have had cousins, grandparents, family members. Everyone is important. If we can, we want our children to hear all of the language that they're typically hearing peers hear as well. So if we can help everyone involved in the child's life keep the hearing aids on, work on these language goals, and work on these skills, then they can work on it all day long versus just the hour that I'm there once a week or every 2 weeks.
Got it. So I want to go back to a little bit of your experience. So let's say I'm parent, caregiver, grandparent, and I just found that my child within that age range may have a hearing impairment, maybe deaf.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? Where do I go? What do you tell me?
What do I tell you? Well, first of all, as a mom of 2 children who are deaf and have cochlear implants, the first thing I would say is, I understand how devastating that diagnosis can be and how confusing it can be. And I would just say that it's going to be okay. With the right early intervention, with the right support, these kids can thrive in our hearing world. And my children, they had the opportunity to participate in a school similar to Spokane Hope, and they learned listening and spoken language, and they're now verbal communicators. So my daughter is now 20 years old. She is going to be a junior in college. She's a nursing student.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my son will be a senior in high school, and he plays electric guitar. He excels academically, and so for these parents, I just want them to know that if they get the right support and early intervention, these kids can do so well.
So the message that I get from there is it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
With the appropriate tools, support, and encouragement. There's no reason why these children cannot be whatever they want to be and go wherever they want to go. Electric guitar used to do that. Not that easy, by the way.
No.
But that is amazing to see, because a lot of people, one of the misconceptions that I hear, well, you don't hear well, you're going to have issues. I think the issues are only there if we let them be there. That's the message that I'm hearing from you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So as we went through a show today, I think we'll flash in the back the information about the site and put any other information that you have. What else that you want members of the community to know that are not necessarily members of the family? How can we help?
Yeah, I think as far as members of the community and how you can support these children, treat them just like every other child. They do not need to be limited by their disability. And so what they need is access. They don't need pity. They need access to language. They need access to all of the opportunities that typical hearing children have. And so, provide those opportunities for them and don't treat them any differently.
Okay, so a 3-year-old, treat them like any other 3-year-old.
Treat them like any other.
The little terror that they are.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Because the sass does not stop.
No.
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
But I do want to say thank you. I do want to encourage any members of the community that are interested, maybe aware of someone in the family that have these issues or they have concerns, please, the most important thing is find the information and act on it. Because obviously the resources are here and the outcomes are here. Thank you for the example you just gave us. I think that's a perfect example. There's no limitation. There's a very big difference between nursing and electric guitar, but we won't go there. I think that's all part of life. So I do want to say thank you. And to parents, caregivers, grandparents are very important. Seems to happen to be one now. I wasn't before. If there's a child that has any of these disabilities, limitations, whichever way you want to look at it, it's not a limitation. Don't treat them any differently. Just make sure that you know what you need to do and the best way to do it so you can provide that child with the best opportunity to be the best version of themselves, whatever that may be.
Yes.
So with that, I want to say thank you to our friends from Spokane Hope. Thank you to all of the people that work there. Thank you to all of the parents that I know. For this could be a little bit of an intimidating challenge when you begin, but thanks for keeping it up, and we will see you all next week. Stay safe, stay well, and thank you for joining us. And thank you to our guests. Have a great
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.